All right, here we go. Hey, everyone, let's try this again. Take two. So we had to pull a little audible. I ended up having to run down to our Elizabethtown office this morning for a really important meeting. So we decided to set this up in our Elizabethtown office. So I hope everything is working good and coming through okay. We're broadcasting not only live through Zoom, but also on Facebook through my Club Growth page. And I am super honored to have the amazing Tammy Ramsey with me today. We're going to focus all about morning routine. This is something that me and her have talked a lot about over the years, and we both worked on our morning routines. Her more successfully than me, to be quite honest. Mine's still definitely a work in progress, and we're trying to get better each and every day. So, Tammy, first, tell us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Well, let's see. So I am married to the great Gary Ramsey. I am a mother of 2 plus 3. So I'm blessed to have 3 bonus kids, all grown, all married except for 1. We have 6 grandbabies, 1 great grandbaby, a little grandson, Baylor. And we have our sweet Piper May Golden Retriever, live on 10 acres. In our sweet little house. Let's see. We hunt. I love to hunt with my husband.
Tell them about your big accomplishment this year.
I went on my bucket list hunting trip in Colorado and killed my first trophy elk. Yep. So that's a lot of fun. Sorry for those who don't like to hunt. But I love to hunt with my husband and cook and knit when I have time. And yeah, just living a great life.
I'm still waiting on my gloves.
Your what?
My gloves. You didn't give me some gloves.
Oh, I know. I haven't picked up any yarn in a little bit, but that's on my vision board this year is to knit more. Yeah. So, but yeah. So
what did you do prior to your current role? We're gonna get into current roles later, but tell them a little bit about your professional history.
In my previous life, I was a bedside nurse for about 33 years. Did open heart recovery, critical care. Loved every single minute of it. Loved it on my patients, loved it on my families. I had always wanted to do real estate, and it just wasn't the right season of life. And then once my daughter was kind of grown and out of the house, it just became the right time, and my husband was very encouraging and supportive. So I think in the span of a Saturday afternoon conversation and a Monday afternoon, I was enrolled in real estate. And the rest is history.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your journey since you've been in real estate. You've had a pretty amazing journey, not only in your personal business growing, but also joining the leadership ranks here at Keller Williams.
Yeah. So I started out, got my real estate license in July 17, joined a small brokerage. Great brokerage, went on to a team, had a great experience on a team, came to Keller Williams while I was on that team, and then always had some aspirations of just always wanted to try it as a solo agent, and was very encouraged to do that. And so started my journey as a solo agent. From there, grew as a solo agent, had the opportunity to serve on our ALC. Pretty quickly started with a coach. And from there, I think that's where my business just grew exponentially with the guidance of my coach, and then also with the guidance of just all the great leadership that we have here at Keller Williams. And just really dove into all the learning and the training. I really credit that. I credit reading the MREA. And really just building my business according to the MREA and all the systems and models and things that it has taught me.
Yeah,
so,
and you got started with coaching and then became a coach yourself?
Yes, I did. I went into the role of the productivity coach. And now I'm excited that I have the opportunity to serve as our market center team leader. So that's super exciting.
New role for Tammy. For those of you that know, I stepped into a general manager position, and Tammy will be taking my spot as the team leader at Keller Williams Heartland. So we're really excited about the future. Not only have we had tremendous growth in the past, couple of years since we opened, but now going forward with you, I think that's a really exciting time. So,
so I'm super excited.
With the you know, one thing that we talked a lot about is when your morning, when your day, right? That's something that we discuss a lot individually. So why is that important to you?
So I mean, for most people who know me, once I'm on, I'm kind of that little toy you wind up and I'm on. But I do not like to jump into my day. I like to ease into my day. So in the morning, I don't like a lot of noise. I don't like a lot of lights. And so I kind of like to have my own way. Shocker. So I have some real different reasons of the reason why I like to get up super early. I get up at 4:45 every morning, including the weekends. And the reason I do that is kind of a little convoluted. Is number one, I get to have everything my way when I get up that early because no one else is up. No one is up at that time of the morning. Because then I can do everything my way in the order I like to do it. And I can do, my reading and my journaling, my praying, my exercise that I do, and nobody is under my feet and nobody is pulling on me and asking anything of me. So that may seem a little wonky or weird, but I get all the things done that I want, and then I'm okay for the rest of the day when people need things of me, because I've gotten everything I need. And I guess that's a weird way of saying self-care.
I was just about to say, you take care of yourself first thing in the morning, then you're ready to help everybody else.
And I can't remember who said it. It escapes me now, but I live by that, give yourself an hour or give yourself 2 hours before you give the rest of the world, 12 or 14 hours. And it really is part of my mindset, and it really does make a difference, because when I don't do that, it kind of gets in my head that it's like, I feel like I just kind of don't zig and zag with the demands of the day as well.
Right. Okay. And we're going to get into the specifics of your morning routine here in a minute. But what do you think in establishing a morning routine? What was some of your biggest hurdles? And whether it be your own mindset or were there any obstacles as you started, your routine from what it used to be to what it is now?
The biggest struggle for me, because I'd always had to get up early because I worked day shift as a nurse, so I always had to start early. It was probably just backing it up to the early hour that it is now. That was probably the biggest struggle. And then staying in that routine of the things I wanted to do, instead of just getting up and then going and just sitting in the chair and saying, okay, I'm up, and not doing things once I was up. That was probably the biggest struggle.
What advice would you give? Because I talk to people about this all the time, and myself included. What advice do you give to people who just say, I can't wake up that early, or it's too much of a change? Maybe somebody's used to waking up at 6 and they're trying to go to 4:30 or 5.
Don't do it all at once. I did not go from getting up at 5:45 or 6 to getting up at 4:45. Just start by getting up 15 minutes early and do that for a week. And if it's too hard, then back it up another 15, then do it for 2 weeks, and just do it in small increments. Because I didn't start I'm going to go all the way back to 4:45. I think I started at 30-minute increments. And then I think I even cut it back down when I started getting towards that 4:45, doing it in 15-minute increments until I finally reached my goal. And I'll be honest, I will not go any earlier than 4:45. I'm good. Yeah. I'm good right there.
I went to 4:30 at one point, and I found my energy at the end of the day wasn't where I wanted it. So I changed mine to 5. And then I fluctuate depending if I have late afternoon appointments, I might not wake up till 5:30. Morning routine doesn't really change very much, but just the actual arrival time. And we're going to talk a lot about Tammy. I would say probably one of your favorite authors, Hal Elrod. That's kind of where we both got Miracle Morning from. And that's the name of the book, Miracle Morning. They also have a real estate version for our real estate agents. But one thing he talks about is the mindset. And this is what worked for me. I went from waking up, I was a pretty early riser in general, but I went from waking up I probably moved my time up an hour. And I read this in the book and I was like, I'm going to try it. Because I'm one of those people, like, I hear it, I got to try it, always thinking about mindset, hence the show that we're on today. But, you know, one thing he says is change your mentality around the way you're going to wake up. So if you go to bed thinking, oh gosh, I have to wake up at 4:35, 5:30, you're going to wake up and be tired because you've already put it in your head that you're going to be tired. So instead, go to bed and tell yourself, literally say it out loud to yourself. I think it's like 5 times is what he says in the book, if I remember correctly. Say, I'm going to wake up full of energy, ready to tackle my day and ready to tackle my morning, I believe, actually. So literally say that out. And I did that. So what was really interesting is we did, and he talks about this in the book. I did the experiment that he did. I went to bed at 9 p.m. one night and said, I'm going to wake up at 5 with tons of energy, ready to tackle my morning. I woke up with tons of energy. The next day, I went to bed at the same time, 9, and I didn't say it. I woke up tired. And I was like, oh, it could be a coincidence. Then so I backed it up. This time I went to stay up till 11, made myself stay up till 11. And even my wife will tell you, I close my eyes, I go to sleep. So that was a real struggle. But I said, I'm going to, at 11 o'clock, so now we're looking at 6 hours of sleep. I said, I'm going to wake up. Or no, the first night I didn't say anything, and I woke up and I was tired. And I was groggy, and it took me a while to get going. For those of you who don't know, last year I attempted to quit drinking. Actually, I quit drinking coffee completely. I started back up with 1 cup now, new routine for me. But I had proved to myself that I could quit drinking coffee, so I struggled in the morning. Anyways, long story short, the next day, went to bed at 11 o'clock, and I did it. I told myself out loud in the bathroom right before I hit the bed, I was like, I'm going to wake up 5 a.m. full of energy, ready to tackle my day. And I said that out loud 5 times. I actually woke up with more energy the next day and had 2 days of less sleep. So I think that that's where, you know, mindset really comes into play. Is it's 90% of life is mindset. I fully believe that. And you have to believe it to achieve it. And if you're going to change your morning routine, it has to start with you telling yourself that you're going to wake up with energy, and then putting some physical things in place to help wake you up, splash your face with water, those types of things. So let's jump into your actual morning routine. I think you do Savers.
I do Savers.
Okay, so tell everybody what Savers is, the order you do it in, and why you decided to go that route.
So Savers is part of the Miracle Morning, and it stands for, the S is for silence, which can be meditation, your prayer time, but it's a form of just some type of silence and thought. The A stands for affirmations, and some people say their affirmations out loud. I write my affirmations as part of my journaling, so I write 5 affirmations every morning when I journal. The V is for visualization. So you kind of visualize what your day is going to look like. I do that. I also kind of just run through my day and how I want my day to go, and just kind of run through what it's going to look like that day. The E is exercise. And your exercise can look like anything. It can just be something that's going to get your blood pumping. And it can also include like your yoga. It can be getting on that treadmill. It can be your gym time. The R is for reading. I set on my vision board every year how many books I'm going to read. I average how many pages most of my business books are. I divide that by 7 days a week and how many pages I'm going to read. So I read about 20 to 25 pages every single morning of a business book. And they'll tell you, don't read business books at night, because then your mind's already processing what it's going to do to implement that. I read business books in the morning, and I read what I say nonsense books at night, you know, like just pleasure books, not, you know, fiction or whatever. So I read 20 to 25 pages every single morning. And then the S is for scribing, and that's my journaling. Some people do their Savers in the evening, they journal. So you can break up your Savers however you want to. I do all mine in the morning, and that starts at 4:45.
What is for you, and it varies for every single one of us, but what is the one thing that really gets you going out of those Savers items?
It is my silence, and it is my exercise, because I had to finally be real about myself. And I would say, I'll exercise in the afternoon.
That's my struggle. That's my struggle.
Yeah.
I say it, I don't do it.
Until I get home and I'll get on the treadmill. I will go buy stamps in order to get out of exercise in the afternoon. I mean, let's just be honest. And finally, I just had to be like, Tammy, you're not going to do it. Why are you lying? So if I do not exercise first thing in the morning, it will not happen. And finally, I just had to be real. So if I don't do it, I have to do it first thing in the morning. And I'm doing more yoga now. So sometimes it is on the treadmill, and sometimes it's yoga. But that has to happen first thing in the morning. And I will say that pumps me up because I just feel a sense of I didn't talk myself out of it. And then my journaling. I am a huge journaler, and I journal every single morning. And my journaling is journaling, 5 affirmations, and 5 things I'm grateful for every single morning.
The gratitude exercise is huge. I start my day with that. I do slightly different order, and to be completely transparent, like the exercise portion has never been part of my morning routine. I was like you, I was like, I'm going to do it in the evenings. I wasn't doing it consistently, and I would look for every single distraction to do it. So starting this year, I'm trying to put that into place. I'll be completely honest, I need some motivation. I need y'all to text me and say, go work out in the morning. It's just like my friend Amanda always says, it's not my jam. But it's something I know I need to do, right? The older I get, the better, I need to take care of myself more so I can take care of others, right? But the other thing that for me is I do a different order, but mine is affirmations, gratitude, silence, and then I'll get into the exercise routine. Then I actually go to work and then finish up with the other items, like the journal. Like my first 5 minutes at the office, I usually journal. I have a little journal book that I keep there. What is the thing that you struggle with the most? Like mine's exercise for sure. That's the one where I'm like trying to talk myself. I have to talk myself into doing it, basically. That's
probably the one I struggle with the most. And I will be honest, I mean, it's not like a 2-hour workout. I mean, sometimes it's just, jump on the treadmill for like 15 minutes, but it is something, and it keeps you in that habit. And so that's probably the one I struggle with the most. Yeah.
So we both need text messages in the morning telling us to get our steps in, or get whatever workout in that we're doing. Okay. What do you, kind of along the same lines, is there anything that you've done in the past that you no longer do, or something that you plan on adding in the future, or are you pretty much setting your routine and feel like that's the right one for you?
I'm pretty set in what I do in the morning. And the reason I moved, I used to get up at 5, and I moved it back to 4:45 because my husband used to be on nights, and he moved to days, and he gets up at 5, and I need to be up before him, because if I get up at the same time, then I start talking to him, and then I'm off my routine.
If y'all didn't know, Tammy's a talker.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Way more than me.
It's my talent. It's my talent. God gives everybody a talent. And I start talking to him, and then I'm behind, and I'm like, no, I need to be in the chair, and I need to be like, no, I need to be doing this. So that's why I get up a few minutes.
Now, have you experimented with your routine in the past? And the reason I asked this question is, honestly, I'm asking this for me and for our audience, but I feel like I'm still trying to perfect my morning routine. Or did you just read the book and be like, hey, I'm going to do this, and then that became your routine? Or was there some experimentation there? Or?
I did in the beginning, but I have been doing the Miracle Morning since October of 18. So I did do some experimenting. I tried to journal at night because I thought, well, I'm going to journal about my day. And then I thought, like the upcoming day. And I thought, no, I want to journal about the day I had the day before and get kind of that out.
Like reflection.
Yes. So now I feel like at this point, I kind of have it down the way I like it. And, through that process, I learned, I tried to do the exercising in the evening. It was like, girl, quit lying. Just quit lying. You're not going to do it. And then I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll go to that exercise class with you. And I would actually call my girlfriends and say, oh, something came up. I can't go. And it didn't. I just got home and I started powering down and I wasn't going back out.
So let's talk around that. Like, so in the mornings, like, one thing that, Gary Keller says a lot is get the hard things out of the way first. There's actually a great book, by the way. It's called Eat That Frog. It's another great book. But you know, it's all about getting the things that are hardest for you out of the way early. Why? What's the importance behind that? Energy, right?
Yes. Yeah. And willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you think about it, if you have a tough day, are you going to be more or less likely to achieve whatever that is? So for some people, maybe it's journaling. For some people, it's exercise. Sounds like it's exercise for us.
Yes.
But for, you know, whatever the item is, are you going to be more likely to do it when you first wake up and your energy's high once you get woke up, or at the end of the day, especially if you had that exhausting type? Because we all do. I mean, everybody has those types of days, right? So I think that's why it's important to establish, you know, your routine and stick with it and put those hard things first. That's like, for me, you know, like we talked about, it's exercise and journaling. Those are the two things for me, because I never journaled until really about 7 or 8 months ago. I think it's when I started journaling. My coach kind of talked to me about it, and finally it's like, just do it for 1 month and then tell me it doesn't change your life. And sure enough, Terry, you were right.
Well, the thing of it is that if I don't do it in the morning, I never know what's going to happen in the afternoon. You never know when you're going to need to go on those showings. And then it came down to, I was out, you know, especially in the summer when it's daylight longer, you're out till 7 or 8 o'clock, and then you come home and you're trying to get this stuff in. And then I found myself upset, frustrated, angry that then I didn't get to do these things that I felt were part of my self-care. And then I didn't get to do them because then I wanted to spend time with my husband. And I'm like, wait a minute, I got to do all these things. And I was out of time. It was time to go to bed. So if I'm up before the whole world's awake, then I'm getting them done. And I felt better. And, you know, one of the other things I do incorporate is when I get up, I don't touch my cell phone for 2 hours.
Oh, I'm the worst.
No, I don't.
I'm taking it
up.
up.
Not touch my cell phone. And they will, you know, I think it was John Marone said, do not touch your cell phone for the most important hours of the day, or the first 2 you get up and the last 2 before you go to bed. Don't touch your cell phone for the first 2 hours you're up. And if you can't do 2, at least do 1, and the last 2 hours before you go to bed.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, thinking about it, I'm very guilty.
And that lets me do that, because at 4:45, who's up for you to touch it? Nobody's up. You can't.
I'm gonna find a reason. I'm gonna get on Facebook or something.
And see who was up when you went to bed, so that you can be like, well, who posted something after I went to bed?
Yeah.
But it kind of tricks me, because I'm like, well, you don't need to touch your cell phone. Nobody's up.
That's a good point.
So I have to kind of trick myself sometimes, because I do want to get up, and of course, you know, Ann Taylor might have a sale, and I might need to like get on there or something.
Oh goodness. So what would you say are 3 steps to a healthy morning routine? Like, let's say somebody has no morning routine at all, or is trying to establish one. What do you think are just give them just 3 steps to start?
Just whatever normal time you get up, just set your clock for 15 minutes early, and just do that for like a week, and it will just inspire you to keep moving forward, and just add 1 thing to your morning routine that is in line with maybe the savers. Pick 1 thing at a time and add it to your morning routine, and start building upon that morning routine. And also sit down and write the things that you would like your morning to look like, and then just add 1 at a time would be what I would tell you to do.
And then if somebody wanted to find more information on the SAVERS acronym, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, that would be where you can go. You can just Google SAVERS, and it pulls up on Google. So I've printed it out quite a few times.
He's on Instagram. He has an Instagram. The book is amazing.
And he's written multiple books.
Yes.
There's multiple different versions also. So what is 1 piece of advice you would give to somebody looking to grow either personally or professionally? It doesn't have to do with morning routines, just what's 1 piece of advice you would give?
Read. I'm a reader. Read. And just be learning based, and find that 1 thing you want to grow in, and just learn everything you can about it.
Yeah, pursuit of mastery, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything you're currently working on that you want to share?
My time blocking, and having margins around my time, so that I learn to look up and celebrate my successes. That's something my coach and I are working on, is looking up.
I think that a lot of successful people struggle with that.
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs, we tend to go like, next item, next item, next item, and we don't look back and say and see the distance that we came. So that's a really good point.
So that's a real big thing in 2022 is for me to have margins in my time and my calendar and look up and celebrate.
Yeah.
So.
And Crystal Blue said, "Can't pour from an empty cup. Fill yours first." And that's, you're right, Crystal, you nailed it. And that's kind of the point of this morning routine, so that we get our cups filled and then we go fill others afterwards. Right. Yeah. So that'll wrap up this edition of Mindset Monday. We're so glad that you are able to join us. Next week, we're going to have another special guest, and we're going to talk about overcoming obstacles and adversity. So we hope to see you there at our same time on Mondays at 10 a.m. Central and 11 o'clock Eastern. Everybody say bye to Tammy. And Tammy, thank you so much for coming on and joining us.